Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's been a very long time since I posted on here, I know, but yeah. So I'm not claiming that I have all the answers, right? But this is just my opinion and what I've seen. I'm not gonna say they're factual, but at the same time, to me, it's quite evident what the topic I'm gonna talk about and the things I'm gonna talk about do for people, and like how a lot of it isn't genuine type of thing. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know down in the comments and let's begin. Right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is psychology channels, in particular channels like Psych2Go. To me, they're basically pop psychology channels where they've dumbed everything down, which is a good thing for everyone to understand. But then at the same time, if you actually look at their channel and look at what they say, they contradict themselves quite a lot. Like, for instance, one video would be like, "Oh, signs you're in an abusive relationship," or "signs you're in a relationship that won't last." One of the points would be, "You argue a lot." Okay, you argue a lot. People argue, and then in another video they'll go, "Signs of healthy communication." You argue a lot, and then they'll justify it by saying, "People arguing is a sign that they actually care about what you're saying, and like if they disagree with you, then that's why they want to argue with you." It's like, okay, but you're gonna say it's one thing for one thing, but then you're gonna say it's a bad thing in the other sense. And it's like, if people actually don't see both videos, then they don't know where to put arguing in their scenario. So it's not a good thing in that sense. And also they like to do things like say, "Oh, if you got this problem, that problem, that problem, it signs that you have this disorder, that disorder, that disorder, that disorder." And it's like, you're giving the tools to people to self-diagnose with a lot of things, when majority of the time they generally don't have any issues with them whatsoever. So like, that's my problem with these types of channels. And they always love to do things that are trending. They never actually like talk about anything that's not trending. So right now, trending right now is breaking up with someone, how to get over them, signs that someone's in love with you or flirting with you. Like, you can just go on Google and type in Psych2Go. You can see their channel. Like, literally right now, it's pretty much all of that. And it's like, "Oh, how to feel good about yourself and self love and this and that." And it's like, I get it why it's there, but at the same time, like, a lot of the advice and things they say doesn't really make sense. Because like, I've even seen they said, "Oh, you do not need to explain yourself to anyone." But for me, it's like, for most people, it's like, if you don't explain yourself for why you're doing certain things, yes, the person you're talking to won't fully get it, but at least you're giving them a somewhat of an explanation so they can somewhat understand why you've done the thing you've done. Like, if you broke up with them, if you had a fight with them, if you're not talking to them, like, it gives some clarity. But a lot of these channels say, "No, for your self-care, don't talk to them. It's all about you." But at the end of the day, it's not all about you, because there was someone else involved in your altercation or whatever happened. And if you talk about things, 9 out of 10 times they'll be resolved without any more conflict occurring. So that's why I don't like advice like that from channels like this. And I can't sit here and say I'll watch them again. I'm not gonna watch Psych2Go ever again. Like, their channels just, it's just extremely downhill, and like, I don't think it's worth the time and effort. You could be putting that into actually reading about psychology, or you could find yourself a course, or maybe go get yourself a therapist or something and talk it out so they can diagnose you. But yeah, self-diagnosing things through channels like Psych2Go, not good. Self-help channels is the next topic. I've seen a plethora of self-help channels over the last like month, right? And I can say they all basically say the same thing, but then they will just reword certain parts. And then it's like, depending on which version you'd hear and like who you're listening to, it depends. It affects how you will react. Like, for instance, uh, so a lot of the male ones would say, "Oh, she left you. Don't talk to her. Don't chase her. This and that. She'll come running straight back to you in a couple months." But then you look at the women's perspective, oh, men always come back, this and that. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, yeah, if you really deep it, if the person you were with treated you badly at the start and then they fixed up their behavior, right? And then you quote unquote say you can't see a future with them and you're not happy anymore. You need to sit down and have an actual conversation with the person as to why you feel these ways. If you can't sit down and have a conversation with these people, when you go on to your next person, you're going to have the same problems probably with them in a couple months or years time. And it's going to come back. And you're going to probably do the same thing. Same thing again. Run away, don't explain anything to them, and then these channels will say, oh, they will come back into your life. They always come back into your life. But that's not the case. Like, really, that's not the case. Depending on how you left things and how you acted towards them, they probably won't come back into your life. And that's okay. But sitting here with this false pretense of hope saying that they're always going to come back, this and that, it's not true for majority of people. A lot of people, when they forget about someone, they move on and they forget about them completely. Other people, they come back. But why do they come back? Because they want to know if you're good. Like for me, I always want to know if the people I was with in the past are good. I'm still in contact with some of them now. A couple of them I'm not in contact with because they crossed my boundaries and they were like, it's extreme. Like extreme things happen. Honestly, extreme things happen. So I don't keep in contact with those ones. But like the ones that like I could sit down and be vulnerable with and talk to, like on a real level, like not how I'm with everybody else, I like to keep those people in my life because they've shared a very important part of my life with me and they've managed to get me to open up when most people who know me know I don't open up to no one. So I like to keep those people in my life still. And then like these self-help channels, like they say, oh yeah, just go do you, go sleep around, go do this and that. And it's like, but if you go around sleeping around with a lot of people, you're gonna find it very hard to create a genuine bond with someone when you do potentially find the one you want. Because if you're going around sleeping around with everyone, eventually your body's just gonna be like, oh, you're not gonna associate love and sex together. You're just gonna associate sex with just, oh yeah, it's just an activity I want to do, bust my nut, or if you're a girl, get my cheeks clapped or whatever, yeah, and move on with your day. But like, it's very hard to create bonds with people if you go through things like that, because sleeping with someone is intimate and you're going into someone's personal space. Like for guys, you're going inside of someone. For girls, you're receiving someone inside of you. So if you have a lot of people doing that to you, you're never going to truly feel any type of like, oh, this is what, I don't know how to word it. I actually don't know how to word it, but I think you know what I mean. And like, kudos to you. If you want to sleep around, sleep around. But me personally, I don't think sleeping around's a good thing. I feel like it causes more problems than good in the long run. Like, let's say you want to settle down and you can't commit to someone because, yeah, the sex and that's amazing. It's probably like the best sex you ever had, but you can't commit to them because you're used to just having one person come in, then come out your life, then another person come out your life like on a regular basis. So for me, that's why I would never do that. What else is there? Like self-help channels as well. They always love to spew misinformation about the opposite gender. Women's self-help channels will say something like, oh, if you're talking to a guy, he's got a roster of women he's talking to. Have you actually spoken to a guy? Majority of us could barely even talk to one girl at a time. And the ones that have 15, 16, whatever, like mad numbers, kudos to him. But real talk, like personally, I don't know any man that can do that and be stable in their mind, because that's a lot of stress. Having one girl is a lot of stress. Having two girls is a lot of stress. Having 3, 4, and as the list goes, the number goes higher and higher. That's too much stress, man. Way too much stress. So, yeah, and then like the guys will be like, oh, she's out here sleeping around with bare man. No. It's like, fam. But if you lot just spoke to women and women spoke to men, you'd understand that a lot of the things that both sides are saying aren't true majority of the time. There are special cases when it is true, but majority of the time it's not true. So it's like, we need to stop demonizing the other gender and actually come together as a unity and you form. And yeah, that's that. Part 3, modern day dating and dating apps. Right, we know the big 3: Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. Yeah, guys, you do not need those things in your life. The reason I say you do not need those things in your life is because you're window shopping for women, and majority of the people who are on these apps, they say they're looking for a long-time partner, but majority of the time they'll free up the nans in one day, 2 dates. Simple. You don't need to do that to yourself unless that's what you're looking for. If you're looking to just sleep around, go ahead. But if you're not looking for that, if you're looking for like a serious relationship and them things there, don't go on dating apps. Really don't. And like, because of social media, everyone has this mantra of cheat or be cheated on. Or, if he's doing this type of thing, like let's say he's going out with his friends and doesn't want to be with me, he's probably out there cheating, or she's doing something like that. Like, that's the problem with modern day dating. And also, well, dating apps. Modern day dating, on the other hand, or relationships, a lot of them don't work because people are too stubborn to give in and listen to each other's problems. So if you and your girlfriend are having a conversation, like a serious conversation, 9 out of 10 times you're both listening to reply. You're not listening to understand. And this is a problem I have. Like, I was listening to respond and not listening to understand. And because I didn't listen to understand, it caused more problems in the long run. Like, fully. I would hear something, I would just go, oh yeah, that's okay, we can get over this. No. Not really actually sitting there deep in what was said to me. And that same thing came back later on and my relationship ended. So I'm saying, like, the number one thing that people need to understand in this day and age is, if you're going out to date someone for a relationship, please just listen to each other, be patient with each other, and try and understand each other. Dating apps, it's the Wild West on there. I can't lie. It's the Wild West on there, because you might find a girl that looks nice, this and that, but you're not looking at what she brings to the table. You're looking at her or him as how he looks, and not what he does and this and that, right? So if you look at him as how he looks like that and you're attracted to him, cool. You go on a date, you talk to the person, they're completely different to how you thought they would be, because you create an image in your mind like, oh, this person looks like this, so they must be like X, Y, and Z. That's not the case majority of the time. And with dating apps, a lot of people on there are very damaged. Like, they don't know how to deal with traumatic experiences or past relationships and breakups and things like that. So they will come into your life bringing baggage from plenty of problems they had before, and the cycle continues. They'll come and damage you, then you move away, then someone else comes into your life and you go into someone else's life, and you continue the cycle. And for me, dating's all about trying to build with someone and trying to understand someone and be there for them no matter what. Modern day, on the other hand, is, oh, you can just be with this person for one day, go away, go and get another person. And the mantra of modern day dating has embedded into a lot of people the flight response to when anything goes wrong. And if I could stress one key thing, is you shouldn't always rely on the flight response in these types of situations. You should always do the fight response, because if you always do the flight response, you're just gonna take it in, not talk about it, and it's gonna get it embedded in you time and time again. And the more it gets embedded in you, the more you're gonna start believing that, oh, I'm not worthy, this and that. You might get some mental illnesses. You get a lot of like bad things that come with it. And If you choose the fight response, which is, I feel like it's the more mature thing and more understanding thing in general for people in general as like a society and like as the human race. If you choose the fight response to like talk things out, actually sit down and process how you're feeling, and like come to a resolution together or without them, with someone else or whatever, it will go so much better for you. It will go so much better for you. Because if you don't talk things out or you keep running away from things, the people who tend to run away from things, they're going to always keep running away from things for the rest of their life. The people that sit there and go, I need to fight for this, or like fight for your relationship, trust me, a lot of guys want to fight for their relationship, but the girls ain't having it because they want to be like, oh, I'm going to listen to my friends, this and that. But like, the people who tend to fight for it tend to be the people that are more successful. Because if you look at every successful person in this world, well, we can use men. Every successful man in this world, they were always done dirty by a woman at one point in their life. Always. Look at Jeff Bezos. His wife left him after he made that big fortune, and she's like the richest woman in the world now. Like, it gives the drive for people to want to succeed, having things like heartbreak and things like that, which is a good thing. But at the same time, depending on how the heartbreak was and depending on the person, it can go one of two ways. Their life will go completely to the opposite end and be terrible, or it'll go to the high achiever end, which is very rare, but it does happen. You get it? That's the next section I'm going to talk about is books. So this is It's Not Okay to Feel Blue and Other Lies by Scarlett Curtis. This one here. This book, very eye-opening. Like, it told me a lot of the problems that people in the LGBT community face. It told me a lot of problems like celebrities faced in their life and like how they got over them. And it's like, it's such a good book. It's got a lot of big names in it. It's got a lot of little stories. It's got a couple of songs here and there. It's got artwork. Very good book. It's very eye-opening to say, because like it tells you it's okay to not do certain things that everyone feels like is like it's got stigma behind it. But yeah, this book, I'd give this book a 9 out of 10, and it helped me a lot in the last month. Like, this book really put a lot of things in perspective for me. The next book is Atomic Habits, self-help book. Can't lie, it just made everything very easy to understand and digest. Like, you do small steps, you give yourself little tasks to do on a daily, and then eventually they become habits that you do on a regular basis. This book, very good. I would say is probably one of the best self-help books out there, in my opinion. Which leads me on to my next book, which I don't have a physical copy of. It's a PDF, Way of the Superior Man. That book didn't help me as much as it helped other people. Like, I've seen one of my friends, he read the book and like his life has changed completely. Didn't do that for me, but I'm grateful it was able to help other people. Yeah, it's a decent book, but I feel like it's got a lot of backwards thinking in my eyes, so that's why I kind of didn't take it in, and it didn't have the effect on me as it had on other people. Then the final book I've been reading is Man Up. I mean, if you're like me, you didn't have your father in your life, it's a good book to have, because it gives you like little tips and tricks on how to do things such as shaving, talk to people, how to plan your nights, how to like go out, how to dress. Like, it's a very good book. And you know what, if you do have your dad, I don't think you need it, but if you're like a guy who grew up with no father figure or anything, this is the book for you, trust me. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. There's one more. It's a book, I don't know what it's called, but it's made by my friend's colleague called Manib, and it just puts into perspective of like how a lot of things in the world haven't actually changed, and that like a lot of things that were done back in the day, like ancient times, like people used to live off the land and earth instead of relying on their phones and that to do everything. Like how things from back then still correlate to this day and age, and it's a very good read. I haven't finished that one. I'm like 80 pages in. So no, 90 pages in. So far, it's decent. It explains a lot of things to do with vibrations and like how going to space isn't good for people and things like that. But it's a decent book nonetheless. The final section is what I've done and how I've like improved my life in the last month and a bit. So the first thing I did is I enrolled immediately into a cybersecurity course, SIA door security license. I passed with flying colors. I got like 90% in basically all my exams, and it went fairly well for me. I also got a first aider certificate, which should be arriving in like a week or so. I also did my theory test. I passed that with flying colors. I got 96%, and then I got 70 something percent in my hazard and perception. Could have done better, but I still passed, so I can't complain. I started going out more with my friends. I've been introduced to a lot of powerful people. I went clubbing for the first time. Clubbing is not for me. I don't see why people go to clubbing, but the people I went with, like, they're all sound people. They're very cool. They weren't very judgmental, and they were very understanding, which is very, very cool. The parties I've been to, like, I've met a lot of upper class / middle class people, and I have nothing bad to say about them. They're very behaved. Like, I was going in with the mindset, oh, these men are going to be snobs, chatting about, oh, I can't buy this Rolex, or like, no, they were actually very sound people. And like, I told one of them what I wanted to do, and he was like, yeah, you should do it. It's a very good industry to get into, and it should make you a lot of money, and hopefully you'll be very prosperous in it, and maybe set up your own company in that industry in the future. And I said, give me 2 years, I'll do that. So in 2 years I should have my own company, hopefully. What else is there? I've done a lot of like exercise. Like I've been going on some mad walks, like 5-hour walks, just to go get food so I can try something new. Like I walk to random areas, get food, then come back. Like, I'm crazy in that sense, but it's actually interesting because the type of people you see and the type of things you see on your way is it's different. Like, for instance, I walked to, where was I? So I went to the gym, then I walked to Barnes, and I went from Barnes to Mortlake. Someone got hit by a lorry in front of me. I don't know if they're okay. I haven't seen it on the news, so I think they're okay. But like, I went to a cafe. It was like a builder's cafe. Delicious. Never thought I would walk to a random area and try food. Another time before that, I walked and ate random tacos. Like, it's just stuff I do now. I just go and do random things. I went Birmingham to watch ESL 1 live, watch the finals. And when I was there, I ended up doing an escape room, and my team got third for the month, like the third fastest time. So yeah, for the month, got the third fastest time, no problems. What else did I do? What else have I done? I'm going to lectures to like broaden my perspective on the world, and like listen to things I don't really agree with, because at the end of the day, if you don't listen to other people and people you don't agree with, we will never fully understand why people think differently to us, and we'll never really flourish as a community overall. What else have I done? I'm gonna start learning to roller skate properly. I'm gonna buy a bike first. I need to buy a bike first so I can go cycling around London in summer, because there's loads of beautiful places that just walk into is too long. If I cycle, it's a different story. And then I'm gonna learn to roller skate, because I've tried it only one time, but I really enjoyed it, and I want to pick it up as a hobby. I've also want to go camping more. I've got a camp. I got a tent. I got a few like things for camping, but I need to learn to drive, which is one of the things on my list. So hopefully by the end of August, I'll have my license. And yeah, like I've done so many small things, small things, but in the grand scheme of things, I can see where they're gonna lead me as a person. Yeah. Well, that's all I have to say in this video. Hope some of you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it and you do want to disagree with me, leave a comment down below. And if you want, if you have Discord, put your Discord there. I'll add you on Discord. We can have a nice little discussion if you want. Yeah. So I hope you all have a good day and thanks for watching.